Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Po, and today I'm doing week 18 of my 2020 reads. This week I finished just one book, but it really demanded a lot of thought and processing, so I'm glad that I took my time with it. So the book that I finished this week was White Fragility by DiAngelo, which I buddy read with Ashley at Don't Have a Degree in Reading, who I will link below. It was such a great experience to buddy read this. Ashley was an amazing buddy reading partner, and I think that I would recommend buddy reading this book in general because it benefited from discussion so much. Basically, this book takes a look at white fragility, which is the resistance that white people have to talking about racism. And DiAngelo makes the argument that racism is something that is very systemic in the US. It's something that we are all socialized into, and just as white people, we participate in because it is so systemic. But a lot of the time when anybody is told that some action they have done is reinforcing those racist stereotypes or hurting people of color, they're very resistant to hearing about that because they hear it as a moral judgment against them and know that they don't want to be racist, and so it's very harmful to them to hear that what they have done is racist. So she really talks about that and talks about kind of all of the ways that the system gets white people to not address race and how that perpetuates racism. So this book is really, really good. Definitely, as I was reading this, there were so many times when I saw things that were called out that I know that I have done. Lots of really interesting things that make you reflect and say, oh, I see, maybe I should be reconceptualizing the way that I do things, and it really encourages you to look at what you have done and how you are using white privilege to either ignore the problem of race or even reject it. I think that because this is so great at getting you to reflect, I really do highly recommend that you read it, but it wasn't a perfect book. There were some aspects of it that didn't quite work for me. So the first one is that it got a bit repetitive. So even though I found the first half of the book especially very, very impactful, as we went further in the book, there was just a lot of repetition of what had already been said. So I kind of feel like even though this wasn't a long book, it was only 150 pages, it could have easily been cut in half and still had the same content covered. So that was a little frustrating as I went further, just to keep seeing the repetition. The other problem that I had with this was that it wasn't very proactive. A lot of DiAngelo's argument is simply that people need to have a little bit more of a stiff upper lip. So white people don't like to discuss racism because it hurts, it's uncomfortable. And her solution is just get over it, get over your discomfort. And it's not that that's incorrect, but I also think that there's a lot of other ways to handle talking to people about race. And I've seen a lot of really good modeling, especially on BookTube, of how to kind of raise people's awareness of race and how to get them to think about it in a way that isn't simply just get over it, get over your discomfort. So those kind of are two things that I found I would have liked better, but I do think that this is a very good entry point into considering how we all participate in a kind of system of racism and how we need to be more aware of that. So it's a good starting point, and I'm definitely really interested in reading a lot of other books that maybe address a little bit more about how to be proactive about it. So definitely this book is really worth reading. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I think that Ashley and I are probably going to be doing a discussion video where we talk together about some of the key points in this book and some of the ways that it made us reflect and some of our ideas for what we want to do going forward. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully we'll get that done, and maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll see. If you guys have read this book, or if you've read any other really good books that you think made you kind of realize your own way of participating in racism, how you have done things that are racist, anything like that that just really made you think or has given you good ideas for how to be less racist and kind of contribute more to equity and just kind of fairness for everybody, I'd really love to hear those recommendations or just any thoughts you have. So please go ahead and leave those down in the comments, and I hope that your week 18 is going well.